through the years, we've done number one athlete for 10 years, Jeter won it. 15 years, Jeter won it. 20 years, Jeter won it. 25 years, Jeter won it. 30 years, I don't think we did it. We just did moments. I don't think we did it. He would have won it again. So he has won it every year we ever did it. Dog and I gave the one for the 10th anniversary. We gave it, remember, Jeter, we gave him a presentation. Same thing for 15, Jeter. So every time it's ever happened, Jeter has won the award. So he has clearly been the guy for the first 30 years of the fan. So, and now he is a owner and a dad. So he's had a busy time. EJ in Allentown. What's up, EJ?
Mike, how you doing today?
What's happening?
Obviously, Cashman's got an incredible rapport with the Steinbrenner family, 20 years solid as a rock. If this was his idea and his idea solely, and Aaron Boone completely blows up this year, is he in jeopardy of losing his job immediately?
I doubt it. I mean, I first of all, how would you? I mean, what could Aaron Boone do to wreck this team? I don't think he'll. The team is very talented.
If he pulls a Ben McAdoo, let's say.
I see. It's different though. In baseball, it's very different. Really hard.
What if he doesn't handle the media the way he expected him to?
I think it would.
I'm just saying.
It's very odd.
This is obviously a power play on.
What this is that they believe now that they have a better way to run the franchise, and the manager is less important. That's what is going on now throughout baseball.
Well, that's my point. That's what I'm asking.
But that's what they do now. They, that's why I said to people when they're getting on the rotation and getting on Girardi didn't make the rotation by himself. They don't do that anymore.
But I guess this is it then in a nutshell. You fired a guy who has Hall of Fame type numbers, 10 years as your manager, never had a losing season. Right. You go out on a limb. You're really throwing darts at the dartboard on this one. And if this thing completely blows up on them. They finished 10 games below 500.
Won't happen.
You got guys. You're saying, Mike. You also said at the beginning of this year the Yankees would never make the playoffs.
Wait a second, but that's different than having them finish 10 games under 500. They haven't finished 10 games under 500 in 30 years.
That's why I'm asking the question.
So it's not going to. I mean, that's rare. They have a great. You see, they have a top team now. They have developed a top team. So
if this blows up on having a top team,
they're not going to blame Cashman. I'm just sorry, they're not going to do it. They're not going to say, "Oh, you got rid of Girardi, it's over." They got rid of Girardi. They didn't want Girardi. Hal didn't want Girardi. They didn't want him anymore. They made a decision. Here's why. A lot of the veteran players didn't like him. Some of the rookies didn't like him. They decided we're going to get somebody the players like better. And they want to mold a guy. So now they got a guy they can mold. That's all. But, if you're going to think the manager's going to come in and turn a 95-win team into a 75-win team, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now, that doesn't mean they might not lose the first round of playoffs. That could happen any year. But if they're going to win the games now, yes, they played over their head this year. Nobody knew. At the start of the season, they were supposed to win 82 games. They won 90. They were 8 games better than they were supposed to be. Why? They had guys like Judge hit 50 home runs. They had Severino pitch brilliantly, and they went out and made moves in the middle of the season that helped them. And they replenished the bullpen and got guys in here, like bringing Frazier in and bringing Robertson in and making the moves they did. And they added to the team, and they took a run at it. They didn't win 100 games. They won 91. They were supposed to win 82 or 83. They won 91, so they won 8 games more. It wasn't like they won 100 games, 25 games more. So they're going to always be within 8 or 10 games where they're supposed to be, and that would be radical. So, I mean, if they're supposed to win 90 this year, they'll come close. They'll be 87 or they'll be 93 or something like that. They won't be terrible. Now, the question is, if they're 2 years in and you don't like the moves he's making or something like that, do I think Cash walks the plank if that happens? I don't think so. I think this was something that the whole organization wanted. They thought it was time to have someone who was a little less rigid. And it's no secret there were guys on this team, veteran guys from the past team, that didn't get along with Joe, and some of the kids didn't. But here's the one thing, to be fair. Joe Girardi was productive, no question about it, and Judge had a great year. Sanchez, in his first 160 games, hit 50 home runs. These guys were very productive. Mike in Jersey, what's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Good, what's happening?
Always, I hope this call finds you and your family well.
Good,
I want to, first off, thank you for the companionship all these years on long drives, whether it's kids' sports or work. And education here and there where I needed to get filled in on certain things.
Good. What's going on?
Before the bowl selection, I'm not livid that Alabama got in, but this is the way I view it. I'm watching ESPN before the bowl selection. They're saying Ohio State holds the slightest of margins on a computer ranking, and mind you, a computer ranking, 49 to 48%. So I say to myself and my boys, I go, all Ohio State has to do is win, and Oklahoma is the key game for Alabama. Well, Oklahoma holds serve, and obviously Ohio State wins,
right.
But then they go back to, well, they lost that Iowa State game. Okay, yeah,
Iowa game, yeah.
The Iowa game, yeah, I'm sorry. But then I look at it and I say, Fresno State, who was the only top 25 team left that Alabama had beat, had just lost to Boise State. And LSU, when Alabama beat them, was ranked 17th, but they dropped out of the top 25
Here's the thing: you can drive yourself crazy, but here's the way. See, but again, that stuff is not as important as you're making it. Here's the bottom line: you had a one-loss Alabama team, which has been at the top of the polls all year.
Watered down SEC.
Listen, they're Alabama. They've lost 5 games in 7 years. They are not watered down, okay? They're Alabama. That's what you were dealing with. You were dealing with Alabama, which has been the star of stars for the last 5-7 years. They are the number one team. That's indisputable. That's not even for an argument. They have been the team. Plus, they are the best team in the country. If you went around the room and say, who's the best team in the country, everybody would say Alabama. You had a 2-loss Ohio State team and a 1-loss Alabama team. Alabama lost the game on the road. Ohio State lost at home and on the road. They lost on the road by 30 points to an unranked team. Alabama lost 1 game to a team that was playing in a championship game. Alabama was the better choice. They're the favorite against any of the other teams. They're still favored to win it all. They'll probably, more people would expect them still to win it right now. It wasn't vintage Ohio State. They weren't beating a great team in Wisconsin. They weren't beating a big team in Michigan. From that standpoint, I think they made the right choice. I understand that you're not happy that they took 2 teams out of the SEC, but the fact is it was Alabama. And Alabama makes a difference. Court in Delaware, what's up, Court?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good, what's happening?
I think the way the Patriots defense has been playing, I'm not sure any quarterback would want to go in there in the Super Bowl, but when the Vikings were forced to play Keenum, you eliminated the Vikings. You were killing Keenum.
That's totally not true. I never said. Wait a second. I never said. Wait a second. Court. First of all, Court. That is Court. Quiet. I'm not gonna have you say it because first of all, that's a complete lie. I never said one bad word about Case Keenum ever. The first negative, I said Case Keenum's been playing wonderfully, and I said he should not lose the job to Bridgewater. You could not be making a story up more. Plus, I said the other day that if Minnesota beat Atlanta, that they would play in the NFC title game. The only statement I made yesterday was, I don't really want to see Case Keenum play in the Super Bowl against the Pats. I'd rather see somebody else go against them. I haven't knocked Case Keenum once. As a matter of fact, I've been completely complimentary to him. And the last 2 years, I have been on the Viking bandwagon. I loved the Vikings last year, and they coughed up more bad games than you could have shook a stick at. They lost 4 games they should have easily won, including 2 games to the Lions, which cost them any chance of going to the playoffs last year. So that's totally not true. I've been completely complimentary to Vikings. I never said one word ever against Case Keenum. When people wanted Bridgewater to replace him, I said no chance they should replace him. Leave him in there. He made one player of the month. He deserved to stay. He deserves everything he's getting right now. But let's not take it to the extreme. I just said 2 days ago, I think with their defense and the way they're playing, and with Keenum playing like he is right now, they can get to the NFC title game. I don't think there's any question. I would rather not have Case Keenum opposing the Pats in the Super Bowl. I would worry about him playing on that level. I really would. I have not said one word negatively about Case Keenum. That's a complete fabrication. You made the whole thing up. Never said one thing about him at any time. I just said yesterday that I would rather somebody else played the Pats so that the Pats hopefully would get beat in the Super Bowl. I don't want to see them play Case Keenum. I would worry about him handling all the things he'd have to handle in a Super Bowl against Bill Belichick's defense. That would bother me. So that's what I said. I didn't say one other thing ever against him. Ryan in Melville, what's up, Ryan?
Hey, Mike, how are you?
What's happening?
Not much. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you.
Just want to say, watching that Sunday night game, the Eagles and the Seahawks, I think it's time. I know you're a big Andrew Luck guy, and I think he's a good quarterback too. But you used to say all the time, Russell Wilson's got a great defense.
He did.
Andrew Luck played on the Seahawks. They'd win the Super Bowl just as much.
I never said anything about him playing on the Super Bowl, but I did say what I said which was true. Russell Wilson played on a great defensive team that was a run-first and defensive team. Not the case this year. I think Wilson's having a terrific year this year, playing very well. But he's a very different kind of quarterback. He has to use his legs, which he does. He does it very well, and he's a good quarterback. He's not Andrew Luck, but that's fine. He's a good quarterback.
Why isn't he Andrew Luck?
He doesn't have Andrew Luck's ability.
Oh, come on.
I mean, listen, Ryan, I don't know why it's about him and Andrew Luck. I mean, Andrew Luck's a proven commodity. You don't have to. I mean, if you don't see what Andrew Luck is, that means you just don't see it. That's all. I mean, right now he's not playing, so he's not the issue this week. And Wilson's playing well. Wilson's not Andrew Luck. Doesn't have that kind of talent. But he is a very good player. He's a good leader. Uses his legs really well. I hope he stays healthy because what he does out there is a little dangerous. But he's very, very good. And this year it's about him more than it's about anybody else on that team. It's about him making plays in the fourth quarter. But when they've won in the past, they have won with a running game and with their defense. Their first Super Bowl was won with their defense, completely with their defense. There were games where they didn't do anything offensively, and they won the games. But that's a different situation. Now that's not the case anymore. Now they have to be good offensively, and Wilson's doing a good job from that standpoint. But I think comparing him to guys like Luck is just, I don't know why you're bringing Luck into it, as a matter of fact. He's not even playing. Kenny in Staten Island, what's up, Kenny?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
What's happening?
First of all, it's been a great ride the last 30 years with you, and I hope the new format that you move on to allows us to call in.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. What's up?
Now, with the Jets, obviously they got a pick, looks like anywhere 8 through 10, possibly.
Right.
If Lamar Jackson or Baker Mayfield is there, and the other quarterbacks obviously off the board, do you take a flyer on it? I know it's a first-round pick, but
I'm not a fan of the Louisville quarterback being a good pro. I think he's a good athlete. I think he's a wonderful athlete. I think he could play all the positions in the NFL. I don't love him as a quarterback. I really don't. I don't want to bring a guy in here. See, Deshaun Watson, the thing I told you week after week I was worried about was what? Was that he was going to get hurt.
Yeah, he's going to get hurt.
The way they were utilizing him, and what happened? It's not a freak accident. These guys don't have freak accidents. As it turned out, he got hurt the week before, and the knee went when he was in space, but he got hurt the week before. These guys take a terrible beating. He would have to take a terrible beating with his legs. I don't like. Now, Mayfield's a different story now. Mayfield is a quarterback.
Yeah,
but he's 6 foot tall. He's a little different. It's going to be interesting. He's going to be a highly debatable issue, and I think people will get behind him because of his productivity. I think he will be treated very well as he gets closer to the draft. He has not been considered one of the big prospects because he's not that big and because he plays a little differently, and he plays in the spread. But to me, I think he becomes a more interesting player. But to me, if I'm like looking at quarterbacks, to me, it's one guy and everybody else. I love Donald as a quarterback. He reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger. He reminds me of that type of quarterback. He's still young, but he's big and he's strong and he's tough. He makes some mistakes, but that doesn't bother me at this age. I think he's got a chance to be a terrific quarterback. I really do. Now, the other guys, Rosen's got a lot of ability. I don't love him. Certain things about him I don't love, but he's got ability. The kid at Wyoming's got ability. Mayfield's got ability. I don't want a runner at the position, and he's a runner. Let's be honest. Those numbers he puts up at Louisville are runner numbers. When he's been forced to stay in the pocket and play, it has not been pretty from that standpoint. So he, as a pro, I know some teams have talked about liking him. Remember, Teams loved RG3. Where is he? You know, the year he broke in, people were raving about RG3. Now, can't say that Luck didn't wind up getting hurt because he played behind a bad offensive line, even though he was a pocket quarterback. He did wind up getting hurt badly. So it's not like he hasn't gotten hurt either. You can get your quarterback hurt in multiple ways. Aaron Rodgers is hurt. Luck is hurt. So we've seen this happen. We've seen a couple of them the last year. We saw Carr get hurt. We saw Mariota get hurt. So we've seen plenty of quarterbacks getting hurt. But if you're going to run a guy all the time, he's going to definitely get hurt. It's not even a question. He's going to get hurt. And if you put him on where you're going to make him get exposed to a lot of hits and you're going to run option and do that kind of stuff, these guys are so big and strong, they're going to kill him. And I just think you're going to get hurt doing that in this league. I really do. As we approach through, take a quick break.